All right. Well, hello everyone. Welcome to Back Talk. My name is Tina. I'm a pelvic floor therapist and your host. And today I am joined by somebody I absolutely adore, Priyanka, who does just amazing work. So I'm really excited for today's conversation around all the things that we're going to talk about. We're going to touch on childhood development, mental health, generational trauma, and how all of this kind of coincides with pelvic health. I'll hand it off to you so you can go ahead and introduce yourself, tell us who you are and what you do.
Sure, amazing. I adore Tina right back. But my name is Priyanka, and I am the owner of the Baby Bliss Collective. So I help women of color, new moms, and their babies use movement for their mental health. So I have a specific program for moms and then a specific program for babies that I'm sure we'll get into. But the whole point of it is how do you like connect your mind or your body to your mind and use movement to help yourself, whether it be through postpartum depression, mom guilt, anxiety, depression,
Mhm.
all those things that naturally come up that we also kind of want to avoid.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. Oh, so good. So good. And I think a lot of people don't realize how much like mental health affects so many different aspects of like our lives and our bodies. Um, like just for like from what I know too, like there are certain muscle groups that hold on to like tension. So like some of the biggest ones I know about are like your masseter, that jaw muscle, your traps, your psoas, and your pelvic floor. And if any of those or if all of those are holding on to tension, that's going to show up in just your overall pelvic health, because then your diaphragm can't like descend fully because your rib cage is basically turned off, and then as a result, and again we'll touch on this a little bit later, it kind of affects how much your pelvic floor is able to like fully like lengthen and relax, and that translates over to like labor and childbirth as well.
Right. Right. And then there's like the emotional component of all of that. Like for
Right.
example, think of like when you get anxious, you naturally hold your breath. You
Yeah.
naturally like tighten your jaw. You naturally clench your
Mhm.
belly, which all will impact your pelvic floor at the end of the day too.
Right,
So it's kind
right.
of like a symbiotic relationship where like if you're able to emotionally regulate, you can probably learn how to relax those pelvic floor muscles a little bit easier
Right.
than if you don't.
Totally, totally.
Mhm.
And I talk about a lot about posture with my clients. And I think sometimes
Mhm.
people think like, okay, if posture is important, then I need to like be upright like this and fix my posture.
Mm.
And like that's like true and also not true. So to a degree, yes, posture is very important, but at the same time, like people that have a lot of anxiety and have a lot of mental health struggles, if you think about those muscle groups that hold on to tension, like it's the jaw, this, and the psoas, and they naturally are like kind of kyphotic and they're clenching their jaw. And so, yes, posture is important because it just helps like your diaphragm, because it's a 360 muscle, it helps your diaphragm kind of like expand fully, helps you breathe better, and all of that again kind of like ties into just your overall like mental like well-being. Let's see. And then you have a background in pediatric pelvic health. Or, like I guess like I know kind of we're going backwards here, but like tell us
No,
about like
that's
how
okay.
you
Yeah.
got into that.
Yeah. So more so pediatric physical therapy. I
Yeah.
did one day during residency of pelvic floor, and I was like, wow, like therapy in general is so multidimensional. Like
Yeah.
it's kind of crazy all the different ways you can go. But peds, I've always wanted to work with kids. Like kids have just,
Yeah.
I think part of it is a little bit like when I think of my own upbringing, like subconsciously, there were certain things as like a woman of color and a child of immigrants that like emotionally sometimes parents avoid. And I've noticed that like not just
Hmm.
with me, but like my friends in my community. And
Hmm.
so I think subconsciously I was like, I want to make sure that as many kids as possible get seen and heard. And like I haven't realized that until like recently in my career, but something
Yeah.
always drew me to kids. And I think
Yeah.
that's actually what it was. So
Yeah.
in college I actually wanted to go be a pediatrician. But then I was like, that's way too much school for me.
Yeah.
That's like
Yeah.
that's not gonna work. So then I was like, what else is there? And
Right. Like,
I
how else can I work with kids?
exactly.
Yeah.
And so then I looked into therapy. And event I've always loved movement. Like movement,
Yeah.
even if you like look at like baby videos of me, I am always jumping and always getting my energy out. So
Oh.
like it's always been something that's important to me. I did Indian dance growing up and like I've always just moved my body. So then I
Yeah.
ended up going for physical therapy
Yeah.
and I did it's been 7 years now that I've been a pediatric physical therapist, but I've also
Mm.
worked with adults too.
Uh,
Just like kids is where like my heart lies a little bit more.
yeah.
Um, but throughout the whole experience, like both with kids and adults, like I would notice how a lot of like mental health issues were being helped. It's a lot. I mean, I guess like when you do, because PT was also a doctorate, so like the whole thing was 7 years, but medicine just felt way longer. So then, yeah, so then there was this mental health component that I was noticing. Like, if I worked in the hospital and I got an adult up, they would just be
Yeah.
happier by the end of it. Like, it was also probably like us interacting and
Yeah.
talking too, but just the movement component helps your brain be happier. And then on the baby side of it, like, if a baby like couldn't crawl to get their toy, they like
Mhm.
over a really long time period, like they're like way older. I don't know, they're like 11 months and they still can't crawl to get a toy, like
Mhm.
they would get really pissy and, and they would start crying. And so it's like
I can't
move
get what I want.
exactly. And it's like movement is so integral to our mental health and our happiness. And so and then I started thinking like why in physical therapy school are we not like using movement for mental health disorders? Like we
Yeah.
use it for musculoskeletal like muscle issues, like if you hurt tear a ligament or something. We use it for
Yes.
like heart disease, we use it for like skin issues, we use it for
Mhm.
neurology, so like if you have a stroke. But like why not anxiety and depression? And so that's how
Right.
I made the Baby Bliss Collective. And then on top of that, like I've gone through my own generational healing. So like
Mhm.
women of color and now me being like a new mom, like those two groups of people are just like very near and dear to me. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's how it all started.
I love that. I love that. It's like your professional journey and then like because you had that personal component as well. That like fuels your drive and your passion for this
Right.
kind of work. Yeah. And
Right.
also I think it's so awesome that the PT and OT world, like it can be so broad and it's great because like you can it's so holistic in that sense and it's also
Yeah.
if you ever want to like dive into like one specific niche within the therapy world, you can because it's so broad and so wide. Yes. Do you want to sit and talk? You can also be a part of this.
I know. Do you
Yeah.
want to be doing part of our talk? What do you want to
Yeah.
talk about, Aria?
Yeah. Do you remember when you crawled? Obviously, you don't remember, but you know you crawled at 9 months.
Whoa.
Yeah. Actually, I do have a side note for you. So, what are you?
Yeah.
And this is just on crawling, just because we were chatting about it. So, from what I know, the CDC like removed crawling as a
I
milestone,
know.
which is insane,
That's
right?
so
Like,
bad.
I want to hear like what your thoughts are on that,
Yeah.
and I don't want to mention.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
When they did that, I remember I was still in residency, so I was like surrounded all the time by like other therapists. All of
yeah,
us were like, did they ask like a therapist? Did they ask
right.
anybody like what the heck? Because like crawling, it's such a short period of time, right? Like you start crawling 8 to 10 months, and then like 10 to 11 months is standing, and then around a year, if you're like going off of just typical age development, a
Yeah,
year is generally when they start walking. So 10 to 14
yeah.
months is when they start walking eventually. Like you have a short period of time for crawling, okay? But crawling gives you all of these benefits. Like it helps
Yeah.
babies when they're older for reading because
Um,
the idea is like when you crawl, you're going back and forth, back and forth, right?
mhm,
And your brain has two hemispheres, so like the left and the right. So when
mhm,
you're crawling, you're making these like
person.
brain pathways, neural pathways that go
Yeah.
across the brain. And it's
Yeah.
not like they're crawling forever, you know. Obviously, like everyone wants their kid to walk. Like that's like
Yeah.
literally like the main goal I have for all my babies. But I'm like, if I'm there and I have like I can help you in this, we're getting your baby crawling because they're gonna walk. Like the
Yeah.
moment they walk, it's done. No one's gonna go back to crawling.
Yeah.
But there's just too many benefits in terms of uh like fine motor strength, reading later on, and then just brain development in general.
Totally. Wow, I didn't even
Yeah.
think about the relationship between crawling and reading, but that makes
Hmm.
sense when you explain it about the bilateral like hemispheres and the bilateral coordination that is involved
Yes.
with
And like
crawling. Yeah.
exactly. And like reading, you have to go back and forth, back and forth. So like I forgot what study.
Ooh.
Like when I was in residency, like I had to do a bunch of like studying and research and all that, and
Yeah.
that came up, and I was like, they need to put crawling back on
Yeah.
to the developmental. Yeah.
It's so crazy that they just like flat out removed it. When I was like looking into it, I was like from a public health like standpoint, I'm like it's like so great for core development and then it also like
Mhm.
influences toileting in kids like later on. It like
Oh,
it just like
interesting.
helps like yeah. And so like
Can I
when
ask how it influences toileting later on? I did not know that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So when kids are crawling, not only does it work on their overall core like strength and development and all that, it also works on like strengthening your serratus, that muscle that we have
Oh,
for people that
okay.
don't know what that is.
Yeah.
So the strengthening of your serratus anterior and the core strength, then it just like overall helps your core and pelvic floor work, like the coordination of it to work better, so that
Hmm.
when you do get to toileting, it helps you relax your pelvic floor fully when you do need to defecate or when you do need to pee. And then it also helps how to strengthen the pelvic floor in coordination with your rectus abdominis and all that
That
too.
makes sense. So
So
it
yeah,
just
like
builds up their coordination. I'm adding that to my little roster of why are we
you
not teaching
of
kids
all the
this
benefits. Yeah, yeah. Like I know, and I remember when I was looking into it, from what I know, like the CDC didn't even um what's it called? They didn't even like talk to like the APTA, which is like the
stuff? Right.
Association for Physical Therapy. They didn't talk to
Right.
AOTA or the Speech Path Association. They
Yeah.
talked to like some sort of like psychologist association. And I'm like, who are the ones that are like working with pediatrics them like firsthand? It's the
Yeah.
therapist. So like, you should be talking to the therapist, like
It was so
not
weird. It
not
was
the
so
psychologist.
weird.
Like
And like
it's
there's a lot of studies that actually back up crawling for those benefits. So I'm like I don't really get why they did that.
yeah, it's so weird. I know. So when people are like, "Oh, like my kid's like walking at 10 months," and I'm not like necessarily pediatric like OT either. I do work with kids in the pelvic health space, like with toileting
Right.
and all that. But I do, and because I have kids of my own, I have like a little bit of knowledge when it comes to some pediatric stuff. But when people are like, "Oh, my kid's like walking at 10 months," I'm like, "Okay, but were they crawling before that? Like, I don't
I
know.
know. And I'm
How
like,
beneficial."
right. And there's always a foundation when you build up these motor skills. So like you
Yeah.
don't really want to skip a step. So like for example, people be like, "Oh, my kid didn't roll, but now they're sitting." So like they probably are sitting okay, but like the rolling helps to build like the side muscles that you have that help you turn your
Right.
body. So like
Yeah.
every single step of the way just makes it easier for the kid to do a motor skill with good coordination. And
Mm,
then I always the way I think of kids too is like yes, I'm working with like a 4 month old, but how are they going to look when they're 5? How are they going to look when they're 10?
mm, mm.
And so anytime like a kid's not walking and like a parent is like, I want them walking, I'm like, well, we got to take it one step back or two steps back because if I can get
Right.
standing happening, they're gonna walk. Like I don't even have to try to make them walk because they can stand and then hold it.
Right.
So that's how I that's how I think of
Those are
the
phone blocks. Okay.
what did you
So we have like some like phone blocks that we use like here anytime like Peter and I or I want to work out. So I just have
want?
them stacked on the side. She's over here just pointing. What is this, mommy? What is this? Oh, you already know what it is. Stop it. You're just interrupting me. It's okay though.
She just really wants to be involved in any way
It
she
really
can.
does, yeah. But going back to what we were talking about, yeah, and I feel like it kind of ties into this like concept of building a good foundation. Um prior to like other like you said like it's supposed to be like a sequence, right? Like I think
Yeah.
if you build a good foundation of all the things that are supposed to happen before another step happens, you're building a good foundation so that everything else can like flow better. And
Yeah. Yeah. I think of that with both physical development, but um like even like the generational trauma piece too. So like
Mhm.
I don't know if like your audience knows about like attachment styles, but there's a
Mhm.
secure attachment, anxious, avoidant, and then like a disorganized one. And if you
Mhm.
can build the secure attachment in that ideally first year of life, but like you can get away with like the first 7 years of life,
Mhm.
like same kind of thing. Like emotionally, there's a foundation that we can easily build with kids, and then physically too. But I feel like nobody gets that training. Like when you
Totally.
have a baby, you just have the baby and they take it home. Like you don't.
And then it's like, okay, good
Yeah,
luck.
like have fun raising this child and hoping they turn out fine.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know if you know this about me, but I was a psychology major in undergrad. So I like
Oh,
learned
cool.
about some of the attachment styles. I kind of forgot them honestly because I don't like see it every day.
Yeah. And it's
But
more
it
with like regular therapy. Like this was
yeah,
like my own learning that I did. It had nothing to do with
right.
like PT and OT and stuff, but
Right, right,
yeah.
right. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I think I remember reading or listening somewhere that the first 6 years of a kid's life is like the like in terms of attachment, I don't know what they said exactly, but it's like the most influential when it comes to just overall like attachment.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
it's true. It's
it
true.
is
And
true.
like, not
Yeah.
that you can't, like, say you don't get a secure attachment when you're young. Like, it's
Hmm.
not that you can't change that when you're older. It's just like you're gonna fight your brain a little bit. Like, you're gonna have to really unlearn some things when you're
Yeah.
older. And it's like, why not just give kids the development from the get-go? Like, learn about it for yourself as a parent. It
Hmm.
honestly helps you as an individual too, and then like give it to your kid, and now you don't have to like, I mean, one of my goals in Baby Bliss Collective too is like for the babies is to not have to go to therapy when they're 30.
Yeah.
Because like because they can just develop the security when they're little.
Right, right. Yeah. And like I think it just kind of ties into like just setting your kid up for success. Like if you can
Yeah.
do all the things, then it's just you want the best for your kid, right? And have like the
Yeah.
best outcomes for them. So I know you mentioned to me before that you like put in a lot of work to really like heal yourself and all of that. And if you don't mind me asking, like if you want to kind of like just touch on that whole
Yeah.
process and journey for you. Yeah.
For sure. For sure. So so when I went to therapy, I started
No,
probably
don't.
like 4 years ago now. And they diagnosed me with disorganized attachment style, which is basically like being anxious and avoidant at the same time, which is a little
Oh,
dandy for me, okay?
you're like, well, this is great. Okay.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and fix that. But like a huge thing of why I even went on the healing journey was because like I was
Okay.
just noticing like anxiety and depression was something that was constantly coming for me, whether it be in
Mm,
the mild sense of like I just feel generally sad today, or like for me it
yeah.
was especially during physical therapy school where there was just like a lot coming at me at
Mhm.
once. And I think towards the end of this I was doing residency, which also was basically residency is like you do a year of like very tailored studying on
Mhm.
whatever craft you're doing in physical therapy. So mine is
Yeah.
working with kids, but you can do one where you work with old people, where you work with the brain, like all of that. So mine was
Right.
with kids, but it was like really intense for that year. And in that
Mm,
year, so many things happened. Like I wanted to like desperately leave Michigan. I
mhm.
was in a relationship of like 7 years that honestly I was ready to leave. Um,
Right.
and then yeah, I was just like, this isn't it. And so
Uh,
that all together piled up was like, I need to make some kind of change. And so that's like what started like my healing journey too. And then what ended up happening is I got done with residency. I moved to Arizona. Like I just took my
mhm.
car and I drove myself. I was
I'm out of here. I need a change.
yes, I'm like,
I
get
love
me
that.
halfway across this country. I left the 7 year relationship and I was like, we
Wow.
are kind of just yeah, essentially like starting over. And like I overall like I do love my family, but there's certain behaviors and traits that I was like, this doesn't work for me. Like if I want to be happy, like that's not gonna work. And so
Right.
making that shift, it was a lot of shift at once, but that's what like started the journey. And then throughout the journey, I did therapy and like just movement, like movement both in like a strength training capacity but also connecting it to my emotions was
Yeah.
really I think what saved me. Like I always say like movement saved my life in a lot of different ways.
Mm.
um and so that's like kind of been the journey, and then every year as I go like along in life more, like it gets like a little bit easier. But that's why I kind of always talk about like the upbringing I was given was very disorganized, but like I really think you can shift it if you really want to. You just have to like
Yeah.
initially put a ton of energy into it, but like there's a lot of payoff that comes after that.
Right.
Hmm.
Right. And I love that you just like got in your car and you're like, I'm like, I need a change. So I'm just gonna do it. And I think sometimes people think like feeling ready is a feeling, but it's actually like a decision. You just have to like decide, like, I'm just gonna do it. And like I love that for you that you were just like, I know I need a change and you did it.
Thank you. Yeah. And
Yeah.
like I always think too, like at that time, like I didn't have, a family and kids, but I do also
Yeah.
still believe I agree with you wholeheartedly. Like even if you have like other just like responsibilities, like literally like your kid, like
Right.
she's your responsibility and like you brought her here. Like I still think you can make little changes in life that make your life so much better. Like I don't think there's ever a
Totally.
time where you can't do that.
Right.
Again, mine was just easier to make like such drastic changes at
Yeah.
that time of my life. But
Right. Right. Right.
yeah, now because I've already done that, I'm like, okay, now I can teach other women how to do that and also like change how that looks for each woman based on where they're at in their life.
Yeah. Based on like what they're going through and all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because as
That's awesome.
women, we shift so much, like
Yeah.
so stinking much. Like being pregnant, I'm 5 months pregnant now, which is so crazy.
Oh my God. Yeah.
But
You're halfway.
I know I'm
Exciting.
officially in the pre or
Yeah. Because when I
period,
first
whatever.
met you, you were 8 weeks pregnant. So that's
Yes,
wild. I
that's
know.
crazy.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
but like even just this pregnancy, like there was that time when I was generationally healing. I still always am. Like I
Yeah.
know when this baby comes out, she's gonna trigger me like so much,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
fine. Like that's gonna help me like heal. But like being pregnant, I'm like the things we go through as women is just kind of insane, and I don't know
Hmm.
why like no one's like why aren't we constantly talking about that? Because it's insane.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then just like, I mean, so obviously pregnancy and postpartum, but even like, so I mean, I'm just gonna kind of zoom out a little bit and just talk about like all the changes that women go through. Like, yes.
You
You're
should just keep that in there.
But even like talking about like perimenopause and menopause, and like these are all changes that women go through, and it's like I feel like not enough people are talking about it. Like,
And and then our cycles, like our
yes,
menstrual
menstrual cycles
cycles
too,
that are just
right?
so like every single month we bleed and our energy levels change and our hormones change and we just like poo poo
Right.
that.
Yeah.
Like wait, like I literally change every week and I'm like gonna try to be a man out here and like overwork myself. Like no, like
Like, no, this is not like,
that's
yeah, let's
not
not forget this is
it.
a man's world and we are just living in it.
Yes. And I'm like, how can we, as women, first value like that female anatomy part so that we value
Mhm.
ourselves more so that we can make it a woman's world too, you know?
Totally,
Yeah.
totally. Quick pause. If you're a mom dealing with leaking, core weakness, coning, back pain, diastasis, prolapse, or you just want your core to feel strong again after birth, you need to be in my core rehab challenge. Doors open January 6th, 2026. It's 6 weeks, fully online, and designed to rebuild your core and pelvic floor with real guidance and an entire online community that will do it with you. Spots are limited, so hit the waitlist in the show notes and let's get you feeling strong and confident. All right, back to the show. Totally. Yeah. It's funny. So I have a group chat on WhatsApp with me and like all of my cousins. So my dad is one of six. So I have a lot of cousins.
Mm.
So I'm the youngest one. I'm one of the younger ones. Me and my brother are the youngest ones, and everybody else is older. My oldest cousin, I think she's 50 or maybe 52. And then like one of the other older ones, she's about 45 and she's going through perimenopause and she's very
Mm.
vocal about it. And so she's been
Good.
talking about it, yeah, in our group chat. And I literally said, I was like, I love this convo. I was like, we need to be talking about this more often because, and she
Yes.
even mentioned, she's like, why is it that like nobody warned me about the hot flashes and the crying at night and this and that? And I'm like, yes, please talk about it because we need to
Yeah.
talk about it so that we can then prepare the next generation about these things.
Yes, and not feel crazy in the emotions that are very like normal and like
Yes.
literally every woman goes through it. I don't
Yeah.
know what that is. Like I don't know. I really like I think about that a lot of just like why don't we just express ourselves and not feel any shame about it or any like guilt
Right.
about it. Yeah.
Right. It's just
That's
it's something
awesome that she's
that we're going through, and I feel like the more that we talk about it, the more people will feel less alone when they're going through that journey
mm-hmm.
themselves. Like,
Mm-hmm. And normalize it to like if you're like in a partnership with a man, normalize it to them. Like
yeah.
because I do agree with you that we do live in a man's world and like men don't they don't have like even just pregnancy like my husband is the most supportive man but no matter what there's nothing he can like there's no way for him to experience what I'm experiencing, so
Right,
like the
right.
only thing I can do is talk about it and explain it and even
Mhm.
that will never like um give him that experience, you know?
Right, right. Yeah, men will never know what it's like to grow a baby for 10 months and then give
Right.
birth to the baby. And like, yeah, you like you said, like you can talk about it and tell your partner how you're feeling throughout the whole journey, but they'll never be able to actually know what that's like themselves.
Mm-hmm.
physically experience that.
Right.
So
So then
I
they
think
can't
talking
anticipate
about
those symptoms. So like same thing with perimenopause. But like even the stuff with perimenopause too, I'm like that's good for both women to know about their own bodies, but also a man so they can be prepared to
yeah,
support her because
right,
they men already get all the support. Like they
right.
need to be supporting their wives as much as
Yes.
possible. And I'm a huge believer of that too. So I'm so glad she talked about that in your group
I
chat.
know, me too. I'm like, yes, you go, girl. Like, let's talk about it. And then it's funny because she brought that conversation up. One of my other cousins, she's going through perimenopause and she has two girls. And she's like, now both my daughters are going to be going through menstrual cycles because they both
Mm,
started their periods while I'm also going through perimenopause. And that's a whole journey in itself too. Like
yeah.
navigating perimenopause yourself and then navigating how to explain what a menstrual cycle is to your two girls that are then going through all of that. So it's
Wow.
again just I guess touching on the topic again of just the more we talk about it, the easier it is to talk about. And then if they're more aware of the changes in their body, I feel like it makes them feel more empowered too. Like, okay, I understand that these changes are happening. This is normal. I understand my body better because of like the knowledge that I have and because I'm talking about it and I guess educating other people about it as well. Yeah.
Totally. And then you just feel better about yourself and more confident, and it's just a win all around.
Right. Yeah. And then again, touching on like the whole mental health aspect, and if you feel better about it, you feel better about it. That's like an overall improvement for your mental health. Yeah. Yeah. I love that. All right. So I guess we kind of touched on some of that. So since we were talking about perimenopause and then how she was like going through that and then the changes, or like because she has kids, obviously, you know, she's like educating or having to go through teaching her kids about the menstrual cycle and all that kind of stuff. So since we're talking about like kind of like mom and kid relationship, do you kind of want to touch on like parent regulation and child
Sure.
regulation?
Yeah. Oh yeah, sure. So like I know my business is called the Baby Bliss Collective, but like I said, a huge like portion of that goes to mom and woman of color because
Yeah.
like growing up, emotional regulation was at least in my family and like many of the other like Indian families I was around,
Mhm.
not a thing. Okay? Like, everyone was
Yeah.
yelling and like it was like fun and chaotic in certain senses, but then it was also like no adult here knows how to regulate their body. And
Yeah.
so then, which
It's like
led
everyone's up here all the time.
exactly. And like, it's fine to be up here sometimes, but like, we have like that balance and the ability to move is important,
Right.
which then led me to like going to therapy and learning I have this disorganized attachment, right? So, like,
Yeah.
I had to work so hard to help myself go back and forth. And I know that people in my family still stay up here. Like
Yeah.
that's totally fine for them. But when you yourself as a woman of color and like new mom, potential new mom, like you want to have a baby, like if you can learn how to emotionally regulate, so like the way I describe it is like you kind of have fight or flight with your
Mhm.
sympathetic nervous system and then rest and digest with your parasympathetic nervous system. And if we're moving between those two, and we only know how to stay in fight or flight, but we don't know how to go into rest and digest. Like your baby will feel that. Your baby is
Mhm.
so ridiculously connected to you specifically as a mom. Like
Yeah.
they were inside of you. They're so connected to you to the
Mhm.
point like I would watch I had a particular mom that I worked with. She was wonderful. Like, you know how there's like just some patients that you're like, wow, I'm about to like steal this from you because
Yeah.
this is a great mom hack. And then you're
Yeah.
like, okay,
Yeah.
I think I'm learning from you of what not to do. And like, thank you for showing me. I'm grateful, but like, I'm not doing that. So
Yeah, yeah, totally.
this mom, like, we were getting her baby to stand and walk, and he like fell down. He just fell. And
Uh-huh.
we both, he looked back at mom and was
Yeah.
like just looking to see her reaction. And she did such a beautiful job of just like not reacting much, but also not being unpresent either, like not avoiding the
Mhm.
situation. She was just like there, and she kind of like in the corner of her eye was just like watching him, but she didn't react. Like she didn't have like a initial like, you know.
Oh,
And
I
this
see.
kid just like went on with playing totally, and he was such a chill baby. And like part of that is also temperament, but I think a lot of it was her interactions with him as his mother. And it's
Yeah.
because she was regulated. Like she
Right.
also was just like a calm presence every time I worked with her. And so
Yeah.
then when the baby did fall, like, so there was another point during our sessions where he did actually fall and he did hurt himself and he was crying. That's when
Mm,
she like comforted him, stayed there with him. And in that process, she's teaching him both a secure attachment, but also like you don't always need me too, you know? And so
right, right,
she's helping him build the ability to be in fight or flight and rest and digest, like and work within his own nervous system because she's calm. And
right.
so that's where like parent regulation is so important for child regulation. Like, and it's kind of knowing how much can get put onto us as moms and as
Yeah.
women. Um, and it's like biologically that baby is so connected to us, you know? So if that's why like a huge chunk of my business is like, how do I help you feel really good as a mom? Because half the time I don't even need to like see the kiddo if I can
Yeah.
get you to feel really emotionally regulated. Like another story is like I worked with this mom and she was just struggling with her emotions. We did like 3 sessions in. She was starting to feel better. And then
Yeah.
her like 7-year old who I had never met was having, I don't want to call it a temper tantrum. It was like more of like an emotional, like they couldn't deal with their anxiety. And
Mm,
so she used one of the steps of intentional movement, which is what I take moms through. She used the
mhm.
last step. It's called EFT tapping, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But she
Yeah.
used that on her kid, and her kid
Oh,
started to feel
wow.
so much better and like could like regulate and breathe and calm herself down. And then the next session after that, she was like, "This happened, but like my kiddo is just feeling different, like feeling better." And I was like, "That's amazing! Like I didn't
That's
even have to."
wonderful.
I know, and I'm just like
Oh,
the power of
wow.
a mother.
Yeah.
Like the power of a mother, like one, taking care of herself and two, emotionally regulating, like it just like ripple effects. And like I like obviously I will always, if you want me to work with your kid, I'm totally down to do that. But like
Yeah.
it's so cool how like I can like help mom and then it just like it's so easy for both mom and baby afterward.
Right, right. It's almost like a domino effect. Like if mom is
Mhm.
like good and taking care of it, just translates over to a better baby, like a better kid
Yeah.
or a better childhood for the baby as well, or for the kid.
Yeah. Yeah. I just think
Awesome.
women are so important that way. Like I
Yeah.
wish that aspect, it's kind of hard to define because it's a little intangible, but just like the emotional regulation of a mom, like I
Yeah.
wish that was highly valued in society because I think a
Hmm.
lot of like issues in society would just kind of naturally disappear a little bit
Hmm.
if
Hmm.
we poured a lot of attention into a mom and a woman's regulation.
Yeah, yeah. And I love the stories that you shared too, because in a way, it's like so easy to overreact, like in a
Yeah,
situation where like a kid is falling or a kid is doing
totally.
something that they're not supposed to. Like even me, like I catch myself and I'm like, okay, I didn't need to react that way because it really was not a big deal.
Yeah, and we're all
I need to
human.
like catch myself.
Like
Yeah, we're all human.
we're going to like react, especially like I said, if you got an upbringing that like showed you overreaction was normal, like that's a lot of us. So that's
Right, right.
completely normal.
Yeah, and like tying into because I know you're really passionate about working with like women of color, and I think women of color tend to deal with that kind of stuff a lot more. At least like a lot of like my friends that are women of color
Same.
or children of immigrants, um, they like tend to deal with this kind of stuff a lot more.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, like I love the stories that you shared because yeah, it just goes to show that like if we can regulate our emotions, know when we're like up here, when we're down here, and how to like fluctuate between the two, a kid is then also going to be set up for understanding that change and variation as well. I love
Totally.
that. Yeah, I saw a video on Instagram of this mom with her baby, and the baby, I don't know how old the baby was. He looked maybe like a little over a year old, and he was really, really upset about something. I don't remember what it was, but he was sitting on her lap, and he was like obviously very upset, very like tantrumy, and then he like threw his head back and hit her like on her lip, and
Mm.
she was just like I forgot what the caption was, but it was something along the lines of like healing my traumas to like not react to this, like something along those lines. And like
Yeah.
I remember watching that, I was like, oh my God, he literally just like banged his head against
Right.
her mouth. And she like reacted so calmly. She was just like,
Wow.
you ready to try again? You ready to try again? I was like, oh my God, like that takes so much like
So much
control. I was just in
patience.
awe because like like again, like I know we're all human. I'm like, I don't know what I would do in that situation. Like naturally, it's like so easy to want to be like, ah, like why did you hit my face? But at the same time, like the kid was visibly upset. It wasn't
Yes.
on purpose. It was a total accident, right? So
Yeah.
to like understand that like it was an accident, he didn't do it on purpose, and then to like just remain calm through that whole process and
In
just be like,
real time. Like
in
in
real
real
time.
time. Like you don't even get a second to be like, wait, can I process what just happened?
Right, right, yeah. Like no, I think
Yeah.
most of us like would maybe like react a certain way and then like reflect
Yeah.
and then try to do better the next time. And like for her, like
Yeah.
to yeah, like you said, do it in real time. I'm like, wow,
I know. I always
wow.
when people do that, I'm like, what healing did you do before this to like get you?
Because obviously, like I would assume that it took some time for her to get to that point as well.
Yeah,
But yeah,
totally.
I remember watching that. I was like, oh my God, wow, like that's I was just like in awe. Again, I watched that video and I was like, wow,
Yeah,
like
that's
that's really
amazing.
amazing. Yeah.
That's amazing because I also feel like for me at least working with kids, especially in the beginning of my career, they really do test your patience. They really like
Yeah.
a lot of natural triggers can come out of you where you're like, I don't want to deal with this, or like they keep crying, like whatever it may be. And like I really think there's a lot of learning that comes from our kids. Like we learn so much from
Oh
working
yeah.
with kids, you know?
Totally. And
Yeah.
like you mentioned, it does test your patience. Like I
Mhm.
thought I was very like a very chill, go with the flow type of girl. And I still am to a lot in a lot of ways. But now that I have a toddler and a almost 7 month old, yeah, like I'm like, okay, like I'm not as chill as I used to be because they do yeah. I love him to death, don't get me wrong, but
I
sometimes
know, but
my
it's a
patience is being tested.
constant, right? It's like a constant like they will comment at you, and now
Yeah,
how am I gonna change my behavior so I can be patient with them? Like it's a
totally.
lot, man.
Yeah, it's a lot. Well, and I'm like really interested in homeschooling my daughter too. And sometimes
Oh
I'm like,
yeah.
am I cut out to homeschool? Like, because I'm gonna be with her all the time, like teaching her certain things. And in
Yeah.
a lot of ways, I am proud of myself because I'm like teaching her how to read, and she's only 2. Like, she knows the
Right.
sounds to all the letters and everything. So I'm like, so far, I've done a really good job. But I'm like, okay, can I continue this? Can I continue doing?
Yeah.
But
It's like a whole marathon.
it's a whole marathon, yeah. Like a lifelong like marathon, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm very grateful that we're even in a situation where I can,
Yeah.
do
That's
this.
so true.
Like you said that, like we learn a lot from our like ourselves going through this process of like raising our kids.
Yeah. That
So
is
it's
so cool. Oh, if she gets homeschooled, that'd be so fun. But I hear you on both ends of that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's awesome. Um, yeah. Okay, so since we were talking about like women of color and like trauma, I guess I kind of wanted to, I know you wanted to touch on how it can be like passed on from like generation
Oh,
to
yeah.
generation.
There
Yeah.
was there was this crazy study I read. I think it was in Body Keeps the Score, that book, The Body Keeps
Oh,
the Score.
yes, I've listened to that. I listened to
Okay.
the audiobook of it.
Okay,
Yeah.
then maybe I'll remember it too, but it was like they did a study on rats.
They did
And
say on rice grains, and I'm just kidding.
yes, and the anxiety of rice grains. Anyway, so they had like a first generation of rats. I don't know what they did to cause the anxiety in the rats, but they did
Yeah.
something to make them feel anxious. And then those rats had babies, and they passed on this gene that signifies anxiety. And then
Hmm.
they had another set of babies, like that generation had a third generation,
Hmm.
also had the same gene for that anxiety. And so they were just showing how like generational trauma in the form of anxiety and what they were studying got passed
Hmm.
down like 3 generations. And like
Wow.
I feel like even in my own life when I think about certain things, like even a simple thing like my I call her Amachi, but my grandma,
Hmm.
um she my her husband died when like the kids were like young. I think my mom was like 19, I think.
Hmm.
And so she always like she did everything by herself. Like she was a very independent woman and just did everything by herself. Then I watched my mom kind of do the same thing. Even though my mom was married to my dad, like my mom was the breadwinner. My mom like took us to
Hmm.
school. My mom was the educated one, so like she did everything. And so
Yeah.
like I find myself my natural tendency is to just do it by myself. And
Mm,
there's like a
mhm.
hyper independence too that comes with being eldest daughter, like woman of
Yeah.
color, brown girl, totally. Like I'm
Yeah.
not the only one that does this,
Old
but
people
like
weight. Yeah.
yes. But it was interesting to like when I read that, I like thought like, huh, that's so interesting that my Amachi did it, then my mom, and now like I'm
Oh, yeah.
honestly hardcore working on being like, no, like Zach, you can help me out a lot. Like you're gonna
Yeah.
do this for me. Or like friends, like allowing myself to receive love and help from them, like to switch that. So like I just found it very interesting that generational trauma gets passed down 3 generations and like
Wow.
the way I think about it too is like now I'm pregnant. I'm pregnant with a girl, so like she may get these feelings of being an eldest daughter kind of thing. I don't
Mm,
want her to. So like what do I need to change or be a cycle breaker in from my past 2 generations so that she doesn't have to like pass on this or I don't have to pass this gene on to her
right.
environmentally or genetically too.
Yeah.
So that study like was mind blowing to me. I was
That's
like,
crazy.
whoa,
Yeah. I think I remember listening because I listened to the audiobook a while ago, but that does sound very familiar of it. The whole
yes,
regeneration thing. And it's so wild, like you mentioned, like it's crazy that like the actions of just one person transcend for generations.
I know.
It's insane. And now that you're pregnant too, like this is another thing. When I was pregnant with my daughter, I heard this like somebody like told me and I was like, wow, that's so crazy. But you are carrying so obviously like as females, we're born with all the eggs
Right,
that we're gonna have, right? So you are actually carrying the egg that could potentially be your granddaughter. Isn't that crazy?
that's insane.
Because you're having a girl and she's gonna be born with all
Yeah, that's
born with.
insane. So like,
So you are
wow.
carrying the one egg that could be your grandkid. Isn't that insane?
So
Isn't
then
that
that means like what I'm doing in my generation is that yeah.
is
Oh,
directly like
that's such
correlated to
mind.
like the third generation? Isn't that wild?
That's insane.
I
That's
know.
insane. Which now makes me think like there's like such a balance of like I want to be a cycle breaker, I actively am, but also like of being like, dude, I'm a human. Like there's only
Right.
so much I can do. But like
Totally.
that fact, that's so cool.
Well,
So I
and
have my grandbaby in me.
yeah, the egg of your 50% of your grandbaby in you. Isn't
That's
that wild?
wild.
So crazy. But like
Cool.
then going back to the rat study, that I'm like, okay, well, when you think about it like that, then it makes sense for something that I'm doing to then affect, yeah, like the
Yeah,
grandkid, like the third
that
generation.
does.
But like
Totally.
you said, like we're all human at the end of the day. I feel like in a way, this makes it feel like there's a lot of pressure for us to be like
I
perfect.
know.
But it's like
Exactly.
you can't do it all. We're all human at the end
No.
of the day.
And
Like,
like
yeah.
sometimes the way I help myself think through that too is like technically mom and dad, like my mom and dad and I'm sure yours too, like they did a huge thing by leaving India and coming here. Like a
Yeah. Yeah.
huge thing. That's a
Right.
huge generational healing of like they are bringing their culture here, but they're also trying to make a different life for themselves. Like that, I don't know that experience. Like this experience
Right.
that I go through with generational healing, same thing. It's my own, but I hope my daughter doesn't experience that. Like she's gonna
Right.
have her own thing. Uh,
Right. Right.
so yeah, you can only do so much.
You can only do so much. Yeah, totally. And yeah, like you mentioned, like just going back to like our parents' like generation, yeah, leaving a country that was home for you and then migrating to a brand new country, finding work and all that whole journey obviously is very hard in itself too. And then for us, like being children of immigrants, I almost like I used to joke and say I felt like Hannah Montana, like living like a
Yeah,
double like my Indian life with like my family and the
so
community and
true.
then like my super American life with like my school and like my school friends and all that, I felt like I lived a double life. And so now that we like you're pregnant, obviously you're gonna have a kid, and I have my 2 kids. I'm like, I wonder what their I don't know what their like definition of all of that is going to be. Obviously, it's going to be different because we also both have multiracial kids. Like
Yeah,
my those listeners that don't know, my kids are half Chinese, half Indian. Um,
yeah.
yeah,
And
so
then
that
mine are gonna be half white, half Indian.
yeah, and
Uh,
so navigating that whole
right.
thing is also different.
Yeah, there's just
Yeah.
gonna be a lot for them to because I feel like for us it's like there was a lot to think about in terms of like what's the term? Like code switching. Like switching
Uh-huh.
from being Indian to being American and what made sense in each moment.
Yeah.
So, but I would hope that like our world is getting so much more diverse that
Yeah.
hopefully even though there's so much more complexity to that, it's accepting. Because I think the
Yeah.
struggle was it like we had a, or at least I did, I had a hard time accepting growing up, like, oh, I'm both these things. How do I be both these
Mm,
things? I just
mhm.
struggled with accepting, like, that's just what I am, you know? Like,
Right, right.
yeah,
Yeah, I totally relate to that. Yeah. Because sometimes I felt like I was like too Indian for certain groups and then I wasn't Indian enough for other
same.
groups. Because like I actually like I don't really speak Gujarati and like so for like a lot of my Indian friends I'm always like not I'm like whitewashed and then like when
Yep,
I'm listening to Bollywood music with my non-Indian friends it's like oh I'm too Indian. So it's like
exactly. No,
much or too little for either group and at the end of the day we
yes.
just gotta be who we are like
Yes. No, I struggle literally with the same thing. Like I had a friend that was like, "Are you racist?" And I was like, "I don't think I am." It was dude, it was wild. I was like, "I don't think I am." Like it's just confusing. Like
Interesting,
and I
yeah.
grew up like I also grew up like Catholic. Like a lot of
Yeah.
Malayali people are Catholic. So then there's like that component, but that's why it felt so confusing growing up. But now I'm getting to a point where I'm like if you want to think that about me, that's like your prerogative to think that, you
Right,
know?
right. Like then that's you to like
But
deal with.
yeah, but I can no longer sit here being confused. Like I'm just gonna live and that's gonna be enough. And
Right,
I know
right.
you do the same thing too, and I think that's gonna serve like all of our kids.
Yeah, yeah. I agree. Like you just got to do you at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, oh, and then I kind of wanted to mention, so because you brought up that rat study, I remember, like, so I mentioned how I was a psych major in undergrad. I remember learning about this one study. It was a rat study as well, and I think it was like these. They had a group of rats that were yeah born like addicted to drugs, and then they did a study where they had those babies. They had like a whole playground, and then like a little rat like playground and then they had like other rats that were not born addicted to any sort of like substances or anything like that. And then they had those like same another like group of those rats that were born addicted to substances into like their own group, into a separate group with no playground, no socialization with other rats that didn't have any sort of like issues or anything like that. And they found that the rats that were born addicted to substances that had the playground and the socialization with people that, not people, other rats that didn't have any sort of abuse and all that kind of stuff, they were less likely to actually continue their behaviors and continue being addicted to
Amazing.
those
Yeah.
drugs. And it's funny, they had like a little like segment where they had, I think like let's call it opioids. I don't know what
Yeah.
the drug was, but they had
Sure.
opioids there too. So the rats like had access to it 24/7. And so the rats, like in the socialized group, they were less likely to continue like feeding off of the little
Wait,
opioid.
that's such a crazy cool study because that's just like such an indication of like the five people you surround yourself by can
Right,
really shape
right.
you.
And it just ties into like the whole aspect of like socialization. For one, like personal connection, like you are who you surround yourself with. And having like things like play and other things outside of just that one aspect of your life can just do so much good for you.
Yeah.
That was a study that I remember learning about when I was in college, and I was like, "Wow, that is so
Yeah. That's really
wild."
cool.
Yeah.
I love
And then it
that.
kind of yeah, got me thinking about COVID. You know how like they say that like anxiety and depression like kind of like increased during that whole time. I'm like, well, it makes sense. Like people are just isolated, and if you're already dealing with mental health issues beforehand, now you're isolating yourself. You're not moving your body. You're not socializing with
Yeah.
anybody. You don't have any sort of like occupations that can like get your brain working and all that, like outside of all of that. So of course people are going to become more isolated, and of course anxiety
Right.
is going
And
to increase.
also like I think actually your social relationships are the highest indicator of your health. Like even more than eating well, even more than like moving. Obviously, we love the movement, but like
Wow.
that actually.
I don't know where Daddy's peanut is. Daddy's peanut is upstairs. He has like the little peanut thing that you use for your neck catch.
So funny.
You want to go look for it? I think it's upstairs. There's a black one and then there's a red one. Yeah.
Oh.
She was, "Was is it? Was is it?"
cute.
You can go look for it. Mommy's almost done. Yeah. Yeah.
So funny. Oh my gosh. But yeah, I read that somewhere too, and I was like, oh, that makes sense. Even if like you're an
Yeah.
like more introverted person, like still having like the right social relationships in your life, even if it's a small amount, but like they feed you,
Yeah.
gets you less, I think it's less like cardiac issues later on.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I forgot. There's like a little list of stuff if you look it up, but I was like, oh, I need to have better friends that like really align to me.
Quick pause. If you're a mom dealing with leaking, core weakness, coning, back pain, diastasis, prolapse, or you just want your core to feel strong again after birth, you need to be in my core rehab challenge. Doors open January 6th, 2026. It's 6 weeks, fully online, and designed to rebuild your core and pelvic floor with real guidance and an entire online community that will do it with you. Spots are limited, so hit the waitlist in the show notes and let's get you feeling strong and confident. All right, back to the show. Yeah. Well, it's funny. I remember after I had my daughter in
Yeah.
2023, I kind of went through this like phase of like, okay, like who are my friends? Because like
Yeah.
I thought for the longest time like the friends that I had in high school and college, like those were gonna be like my lifelong friends. And after I became a mom, there were a lot of those people that didn't really like show up for me, like people that didn't come to my baby shower,
Yeah.
uh, just like started becoming more absent, and I
Yeah.
was like, are these people really the lifelong friends that I thought I was gonna be with for the rest of my life? Because if
Yeah.
so, this is how they're gonna treat me once I become a mom. I don't think I want them around anymore. And I think that's okay. Like, and I
Yeah.
think we kind of touched on this, how like friendship breakups are hard. Like because like female friendships can be so like fulfilling and um yeah, in so many ways it's hard to like kind of like cut those people
Dude, it's
off.
so hard. Like, I
So
feel
hard.
like I think it's harder than romantic relationships, like
Yeah,
when you break
it's
those up, because
totally.
they're like a part of your soul a little bit, you
Yeah.
know? And
Yeah.
no, I totally agree. And it's like interesting because like as a human, you just go through different phases of your life of what you think is
Mhm.
important at certain times.
Mhm.
And so it makes sense that like naturally the people in your life might change. But that doesn't
Yeah.
make it any less hard as that
Right.
change happens, you know?
Right.
But
Right.
I do find that the people that are aligned, like that, like you always find a way to them. Like they
Mhm.
always come.
Yeah.
So long as you're open to that too.
Right. Right. Like
Yeah.
if you're in a space where you can accept that and receive that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Yeah, so I think, yeah, just surrounding yourself with people that you enjoy being around can like affect your own sanity and like mental health too.
Yeah. And physical health,
Physical
wildly.
health too. Yeah, because
Oh,
clearly the yeah, that's the number one determinant factor of health, which is yeah,
yeah.
that's wild to me because like I think just coming from a therapy standpoint, we always talk about movement and
Hmm.
nutrition and all that, but yeah, the mental piece is something that I think easily gets forgotten about like
Hmm.
how important it is. Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Yeah. So we kind of touched on how mental health like can affect your pelvic health. Like we kind of touched on how like people that tend to be like really anxious hold on to a lot of tension. They have a lot of tightness in their jaw, their traps, their psoas muscle, and then as a result, their pelvic floor as well. And so if you're constantly in that like anxious, like hunched over position, all those muscles are like really, really tight. And if we're constantly like kind of like kyphotic like that, it automatically turns off our rib cage and it
Oh,
directly impacts our diaphragm. And our diaphragm works like together with our pelvic floor. Anytime we inhale, our diaphragm descends, our pelvic floor also descends, and then when we exhale, they both like simultaneously come up. So if you're constantly holding like a lot of tension in that super like kyphotic posture, automatically your diaphragm is like not able to descend fully, and then it's going to lead to pelvic floor tension. It can lead to common pelvic floor issues like leakage, prolapse, just overall like pelvic tightness and all that kind of stuff. It can also kind of like tie in with constipation too, and that's something I think a lot of people don't think about when it comes to just pelvic health. Um, because if your pelvic floor is like not able to relax and lengthen when you're having bowel movements, it's just in this like constant tight state. And if it's constantly tight like this, you have a higher risk of being backed up. And if your stool stays
mhm.
swollen for longer periods of time, the water is going to like absorb and then it just leads to like harder, like pebble like feces when you do pass them. So a
Oh,
lot of different like factors come into play with just like something that seems so minor, which is just like posture,
Right.
tension, and anxiety, right? Like, so something that's like super easy, I think, for people to do is to just kind of like lay on your back, like on the floor. And what that does is it automatically like keeps your spine in neutral and allows your rib cage to fully expand when you breathe. So laying on your
Mhm.
back on the floor and then having your legs like up elevated onto a chair, like the 90-90 like position. And then just putting your hands on your rib cage and then fully taking an inhale into your lats, into your rib cage, and then exhaling and feeling all of that kind of come back together and your pelvic floor coming back up with the exhale
Yeah.
can do it's such a simple movement, but
Right.
helps with the coordination of your diaphragm and your pelvic floor. Because again, because if you hold on to that tension and that anxiety, you're naturally just turning off your rib cage and it's directly affecting your diaphragm. So doing that position, laying on your back with your legs up onto a chair and doing that deep breathing, it's such a simple tool, but it helps your pelvic floor so much, so much.
Yes. And I
So
feel
that's
like just doing the repetition of that, because
yeah.
like I also the way I thought about that too is like because normally when you breathe, it's kind of easy to breathe like out with your
Yeah.
stomach, but like breathing out, like almost like thinking of your rib cage going out to the sides and then coming
Yes.
back in, like you're trying to get the whole rib
Yeah.
cage to come out. Like that's not a normal way of breathing in the way that we live normally. So I feel
Right.
like the more you do, like say you just did, I don't know, like 5 to 10 of those a night, like your
Yeah.
body would learn, like your brain would be like, oh, like she wants us to breathe this way. So,
Yeah.
and then you'll start to notice it happen in your regular life where you're like actually
Yes.
expanding out your ribs, even when you're just sitting like upright, like how we are right now.
Right. Right.
That's like such an easy tool.
Yeah,
I
super
love
easy.
it.
And then during pregnancy too, with like because we have like this growing baby, like our diaphragm's naturally not able to like
Dude,
descend.
I feel it already at 5 months. I'm like, I can't breathe.
I can't breathe. Yeah, and that's why we constantly hear women, and I said this too, like during my pregnancy, I'm like, I literally can't breathe. I'm like, and it's because our diaphragm can't like it doesn't have enough room to descend because this baby's taking up
Yes.
all this space. So trying to remember to breathe into your lats, like laterally to the sides, can help just help you breathe better.
Yeah,
Uh, but yeah, yeah.
that makes so much sense. Oh my gosh.
So it's
Love
super
it.
easy, like quick fix, or not. It's not a quick fix, like, but it's a simple tool that can have a profound impact on your pelvic floor. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love that so much. I'm gonna add that to my
Oh, too.
I'm gonna add that because it's such a simple thing to do, but it causes so much change in your body, you
Hmm.
know? Um, so like if I had to pick like one tool for emotional regulation, both for moms and babies,
Yeah.
um, usually this tool is better for like kids who are older than like 6 because they have to understand it, but it's called emotional freedom tapping.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, emotional freedom technique, and then
Mm,
it's like tapping. So the basically the way that this tool was used is for people who have PTSD, from being
mhm,
like a veteran or just going through like chronic trauma, chronic
mhm,
PTSD.
mhm.
And all
Yeah.
you do, it's so easy, like it's so ridiculously easy. You just tap different parts of your face. So like you
Mm,
start with the forehead, then you go to the
mm,
side, under the eye, under the nose, and then the
mm,
collarbone. And
mm,
like I kind of incorporate that into so I have two programs. The first one
yeah.
for women of color and new moms is intentional movement. So that's like the
Mm,
third step of this because it helps you rewire like the original emotion you're feeling. But say you don't have time to do like because like if I'm going to explain intentional movement, basically it's 3 steps. The first one is identifying your emotion and figuring out where it's showing up in your body through a little like 30 seconds of meditation. Then the second step is moving that body part. So you're building a mind body connection
mhm,
first to that emotion, but then to where you're storing it in your body. And then the third step is this EFT tapping, where like
mhm.
we do the tapping, but we're also saying like,
Yeah.
it's safe for me to feel anxiety. It's safe for me to like love myself with that anxiety. It's also safe for me to let go of that anxiety whenever I feel like it. It's safe to
Right.
love myself no matter what. And then like I end it with I got this from someone else, from Haley Hoffman Smith. I love this, but she like on the last one, she always does a funny thing
Yeah.
because so like for example, like after I just said all the stuff about anxiety, the
Yeah.
last one would be like, now I see a monkey swinging from the palm tree outside. And, like, and you change it up because like the way anxiety and depression works, or like any of these emotions that you don't want to constantly have, like your brain has made a neural pathway. Like think of your brain as a forest, and your
Oh,
brain
yeah.
has a path that it keeps going down. And let's say anxiety is our path. Anxiety about our kids is our path. Like
Yeah.
we've constantly made that pathway. So we're still gonna like deal with that anxiety, deal with that emotion, but like when you get to the end with the funny one,
Yeah.
it's helping your brain make a new path. So instead of going down the anxiety route, we're gonna like
Yeah.
swerve. Yeah, we're gonna swerve and make like a new brain pathway. Yeah, get out of here. But like honestly, that's my favorite part, and I think the most potent part of intentional movement.
Yeah.
Like the ability to retrain your brain, you know? Because like you do want to connect your brain to what you're feeling. Like you don't want to poo-poo it or avoid that
Yeah.
anxiety because then it just keeps building up. But at the same time, we
Right.
can't stay there forever either. Um,
Right.
so I always tell moms like if you say you don't intentional movement itself, like when I take my clients through it by the end, they can do it in like 5 minutes because you
Yeah.
only have to pick. I'll teach people 3 exercises, but you really only have to pick one. Like if you're
Yeah.
feeling anxiety up here, just and you're feeling it in your chest, just do
Yeah.
a chest exercise and then you're connecting, you know?
Right.
But say you really don't have time, like your kid is like crying right now. The
Yeah.
tapping tool is like my favorite because you can just come straight to the collarbone and just
Mm.
like slowly breathe and say, "Oh, mom, like mama's feeling tired right now." And then
Mm.
like it's a funny thing because I had another client who had like I want to say a 3-year-old,
Mhm.
and she would do this in front of him, and he was like, at first he was like, "What the heck is she doing?" And then over time, he started doing it too. And I usually don't teach EFT tapping to little ones because like there's
Yeah.
usually like a whole script that you say with it. But
Uh,
even if you just like say you have no time but this, just
yeah.
tap your collarbone and say like just name the emotion you're feeling and let yourself go
Uh,
through it. Yeah. And then you're also teaching your kids emotional regulation in a quick way too.
True,
Yeah.
true. Like, because they're like seeing that too. And I mean, kids' brains are like sponges. They pick
They
up on
are.
everything. Like, so if
Yes.
they see mom or dad doing that too, they're gonna pick up on it. Oh, I love that.
Exactly.
I'm
And
gonna
you
use
can even teach them, please, yeah, please. For me personally, it's helped me so much throughout my life. But like watching
that.
my clients like change emotionally too, I'm like, oh my God. And then you have this forever. And then the
Yeah,
other thing you can do too, like say this is, I don't know, you're in a work meeting or something and you can't like tap your collarbone, you can
yeah.
always like say you have like a table under here, you can always tap your legs and just do
Yeah.
tap one at a time. You can also tap like butterfly taps on your shoulders, but
Oh,
usually if I can't be like if I'm around people but I need like a regulation technique, I just do like my legs and I tap back and
yeah.
forth. Yeah.
Well, that's
So that
awesome.
I'd say is the easiest tool in terms of movement and emotional regulation.
Yeah. And I love that they're quick and easy too. So like,
Yeah,
especially for moms that are busy and feel like they don't have enough time in a day, this is like something so quick that they can just weave it into their routine already.
totally.
Yeah.
When
I
I
love
made intentional movement, it's because I've been with moms for like 7 years and I'm like, dude, these moms have no time. Like, I can't be asking these moms out here to like go to the gym right now and do like a 45-minute workout. Now, there's definitely moms who want to do that because like there's such a benefit from it. And I'm never gonna like
right.
say don't do that. But like in those moments where you're a mom and life is like really lifing, like
Yeah.
I needed to figure out a way that was a fast tool that would help
Yes.
a mom feel immediately better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I do that a lot too, because like I mean, because I'm also a mom myself. I've been
Yeah.
through it, and I know how that early postpartum phase can feel like super overwhelming, like
Mhm.
just navigating like diaper changes and pumping and breastfeeding and everything and all that. Asking a mom to like set aside tw even 20 to 30 minutes is like it's too much.
It's a
So
lot.
I try my best to weave in exercises and movements and things that they can do into their ADLs or like into their activities of daily
Nice.
living. Like if you can do it while you're brushing your teeth, do it while you're brushing your teeth. You know what I mean? Like
I love that.
if you weave it into your own habits and routines, you're much more likely to stick to it for one. And two, it's easier to just do rather than feeling like, oh, I need to set aside a half hour today, you know.
Right, right.
And it
There
feels
will
like
be a time where like, because I know you work out now a little bit
yeah,
more. Like there'll
yeah,
be a time where that period can come back, but
right.
like you have to honor these moments of like, wow, I'm like really in it. Like, this is a lot.
Yeah,
And then find a
totally.
different way to do something.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I'm thankful that I am able to like work out and stuff, but I've also just kind of like adapted. Like if I can't make it to the gym, then I work it at home. I have a set of dumbbells here and I have a little bench, And if
Yeah.
they're just walking in and out, they're walking in and out. You just kind of have to be okay with it.
I love it. I
Just
love it.
because, like my daughter will now there was one time when I think she was a year and a half. I was working out at home a little bit more at that season of life.
Yeah.
She started like doing squats around the house, and I was like, where did she like start doing that? And I thought about it. I was like, she's copying me, like, because
That's
I was
so
squatting
cute. That's
sometimes.
so
Oh
cute.
yeah,
What a
like kids'
like
brains are
you taking
sponges.
care of yourself and now your baby's out here doing
She's just like
squats.
really walking around doing squats. I'm like, why is she doing that? I'm like, oh, like she sees me do that. That's why she's doing that.
I love that so much. I'm totally gonna do that when this baby comes out.
She'd be like counting too. She'd be like, one, two. Like, I'm teaching you numbers. I'm teaching you exercise. Like, there's so many benefits to like all
Oh,
of it.
that's amazing. That's so amazing.
Oh, it was so funny. It was so funny. Yeah.
So
Even
cute.
now, sometimes I'll catch it because I don't work out at home as much anymore because
Yeah.
well, he finished. Okay. Thank you so much. Can you go put it on the counter, please? She just barges in here with Ezzy's bottle. She's like, he finished. Like, okay, thank you.
Thanks for the announcement.
Really, like she's like mom junior.
Dude, literally, she totally is. She's like, I'm on this.
I'm on it. I know. I'm like, okay. Can you go
Oh,
put it on the counter outside, please? Yeah, so since we were talking about um just like working out and exercising and movement, obviously we know how important it is, but obviously we want to adapt and cater to like every season of life. But I do think prioritizing just overall physical health can be really important because just like understanding that like, okay, if I need to do this set of 10, that same mental like strategy that you need to use to like mentally get through the set of 10 also translates over to like childbirth and labor. And that's like what that's
ah,
clients too. Like obviously when a set is really like difficult and hard, does that like just because it's hard doesn't mean that like you're just gonna stop? No, obviously, because like there's benefit to it. So I tell clients often that like it's the same mental strategy. Like if you can get to 10, like a contraction is usually about a minute long too. So if you can mentally understand that it's like a wave, right? There's like a buildup, it reaches its peak maximum like pain level and then it like tapers off. And then you get a break and then you get to like you have to go through it all over again. So using
oh,
that
okay.
like
I'm like, oh God, here
strategy,
we
like
go.
I think it's the most like relevant one that like a lot of people um kind of are familiar with already, but like it's like the
Yeah,
same strategy to use during labor. Like it's intense, it's painful, but it's worth it. And it's purposeful pain, right? It's not
yeah. That
like if
makes so much sense. So it's almost like you're using these exercises that you teach to build endurance for birth.
yeah,
Like
like
that. Oh, I love that.
so a variety of different. Okay, okay. Come over here, please. Come over here. Come on this side. Here, come over here. You can come.
I want to go with this side.
Okay, you can come over here. Okay, good job. Thank you. Oh yeah. Thank
Oh, did you finish? Did
But anyways, yeah. So the exercises are obviously like beneficial for a variety of different reasons. For your pelvic floor, to increase space at certain like levels of the pelvis, but also like it teaches you the mental resilience that you kind of need during childbirth and labor and all of that.
yeah,
Yeah.
that makes so much sense. I love that too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's like such a good way to think of birth. Because like obviously I haven't given birth yet and I'm like when I think about it, I'm like, oh my God. You know, like but thinking about it in like that kind of workout, because I've worked out a lot throughout my life. So I'm like,
Right.
okay, that makes sense. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, it's purposeful, right? So like if
Yeah.
it gives better reason behind it rather like if you just break your arm, you're like, okay, this just sucks. This is
Right.
painful. Well, there's no purpose behind it. When it comes to movement, it's purposeful pain. It's like getting you stronger, good for your mental health and all that. And then when it comes to labor, it's like, okay, well, each contraction is okay, okay. So sassy. Um,
You're like, no, let me out. Hulk smash.
you're so silly.
My leg.
Yes, your leg. But yeah, going back to the purposeful pain thing, like each contraction gets you closer to your baby. So
Right.
again, it's like purposeful, so it's different than again like breaking your arm or fracturing your femur. Like
Yeah.
that's just like I feel like that's worse. That's worse than
So
any
worse.
Right.
Right, right. Because like now you're just sitting here with no cute baby.
Yeah.
Had
Yeah, nothing to
Abby.
result out of all of
I
it.
had Abby.
Oh, okay. Your mommy kiss it?
Yeah.
There.
Oh, she just like blinked and then walked away.
She literally walked out the door. Oh my God. Peter and I will always joke. We're
Funny.
like, she runs this household. I'm like, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, she totally runs the household. Totally.
everything has to be on her time.
Yeah, that's so funny.
I know, she's so funny.
Things to look forward to. I one of our friends also had a baby girl. She's 10 months old.
Oh.
She already runs the house too. Like
Yeah.
yeah. Like she runs her dad. Like her dad loves her so much. So it's so cute.
Yeah.
But if like I'm like, wow, like having a first daughter, man, is
Yeah.
not for the weak. Not for the
I
weak.
know. Oh no.
I love
And her
it.
eldest daughter is now raising an eldest daughter as
Exactly.
well
Exactly.
too,
So
which
it's
is
like
so
we
funny.
know.
Oh,
So
so
excited,
funny.
dude.
I'm excited for you. I cannot believe you're already 5 months in. You're already
I
halfway, which
know.
is crazy.
So
So
insane.
exciting though.
It's I'm excited to meet her. I'm super
Yeah.
excited to meet her. I'm honestly, if I'm being honest, I'm not looking forward to third trimester because
Yeah.
that's when you get just really big. Because like right now, I feel a lot better, like a
Okay.
lot better. But
Yeah.
that's also what I've heard of second trimester. It's like, oh, okay, like this is gonna be
Yeah.
the honeymoon time.
Yeah.
Get ready.
I know. Oh, I remember with Ezra, the last few weeks were probably the hardest for me. Otherwise, the rest of
That's
pregnancy
so
with both
good.
have where I'm like very thankful and very lucky in
Yeah.
that sense. They were both really easy. But I remember the last few weeks with Ezra, I was like, I literally like by the after dinner, I just like felt so big. And I was like, I need to be sidelined. That's the only position that's comfortable.
Yeah.
Like nobody talk to me, nobody do anything. I need to lay here. This is the only way I
Oh
can
my
even
God.
feel comfortable.
Was that like what the last like 36 weeks then?
Yeah, that was like it was the last 4 weeks for him. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Oh my God.
But also every pregnancy is so different
It
and
is, and I do have to
yeah.
say, I actually think my overall pregnancy has been easy. I
Oh,
just
that's
think like
funny.
I'm so used to just like lottie dying and like doing whatever I want. And so the transition of being like wow, I'm like really pregnant. Like
Yeah,
it's like a mind game a little bit.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. You're so like, and you've lived in your own body for 30
Yeah.
years, right? And then like, or over 30 years, and then now all of a sudden you're like, now I have this baby, now I have to adjust. Like, this is not something that
Yes.
you.
Yes,
So
totally.
I
Totally.
totally get it. I totally. Yeah. All right. So just to kind of close off, what's
Yeah.
one myth that
Ooh.
you wanna bust?
Okay, actually, yeah, one myth I want to bust is that like your kids won't remember anything. Like when they're
Mm,
little, like they're not going to remember this. And then parents will be like, "Oh, it's not a big deal because they won't remember this." They're not going to remember words. Like obviously like a 3-month-old doesn't know words. But they remember a secure feeling with
yeah,
their primary caregiver. And so I try to like tell people about that as much as possible because like just how you hold them, how you love them, like it really does make a big impact in that first year especially, but then like you said up to 6 to 7 years.
mhm,
Yeah. So that's one myth. I'm like I think people should be more intentional, especially in those first couple
yeah.
of years.
Right, right. And like you
Yeah.
mentioned earlier too, like the body, oh, what's that book that we list or
Oh yeah, the
we
body keeps a
the body
score.
keeps the score. So it's like
Yeah.
even though the baby won't remember it, their body's gonna react or like hold on to like certain things. So I think
Right.
that's really important. Yeah.
Yeah. And then when they're like 30, they may have a reaction to something or like you know how like you just get triggered and you're like I don't know what triggered me? Like I feel
Yeah,
like those initial moments in the first 7 years of life, but especially that first year of life, like that can lead to that later on. You know.
totally.
But same thing, I always say the caveat like do your best, like you're a human, but like just remembering that helps you interact with your baby a little bit differently to help them.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Having that piece of information. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that. Love that. Um, yeah, and then I just kind of want to touch on. I feel like a lot of people don't know the link between nervous system and pelvic health, but they're both like deeply connected. So if like, yeah, like if your nervous system is constantly in fight or flight, your pelvic floor is also going to feel that, and it's going to feel the tension and the tightness. And it could also be one of the reasons why somebody could be dealing with pelvic floor dysfunction, like the leakage and the like constipation type like symptoms. So I feel like kind of like touching on all the things that we've already discussed, like those strategies you went over, the breathing strategy that I kind of like went over, both of those can help your nervous system. And then as a result, you'll also be helping your, obviously your mental health and then also your pelvic floor health. So it's just a win-win in all categories.
Oh, I love that. It's so true. It's
Yeah.
so true. I feel like like luckily the pelvic floor is getting so much more attention. I love
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
Um, but it's like easy to forget. Like even I think recently I learned because like I didn't get a lot of pelvic floor training in PT school, but like your
Mhm.
pelvic floor is the bottom of your like abdomen, like your stomach,
Yeah.
you know? Like you have your
Right.
diaphragm, pelvic floor, and then like all the muscles on the side and the front and back. But
Mm.
the pelvic floor, like I'm like, that's like kind of a key player if it's like the floor of your stomach.
Yeah, it's the floor of your core. That's what I tell people. I'm like,
Yes.
you have
Oh,
all
I
these
love
other
that.
muscles, and then it's literally the floor of your core. That's why it's
Yeah.
called pelvic floor.
Yeah, exactly. But
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah,
I'm so glad it's getting more attention because it's
yeah.
easy to forget about it. And then as a
Mhm.
woman, like it shifts over time. Like how, like even now, so like full transparency, I have a tight pelvic floor typically,
Mhm.
but then
Mhm.
pregnancy makes it, just with the hormone changes, makes it more loose. But
Mhm.
then like I still have tightness for my own like anxiety and things like that. So it's like it's
Right.
an interesting blend of like before I was tight and I did very specific exercises for certain reasons.
Mhm.
Now like I'm a little bit changing how I exercise because I'm pregnant and it's shifting my pelvic floor a little bit.
Right, right,
Um
right.
so yeah, I'm just glad it's getting more attention.
Well, yeah, I totally
Yeah.
agree. I feel like my mom in her like I was born in the 90s and we both were.
Yeah.
I feel like back then pelvic floor wasn't even talked about. Nobody knew
No.
about it. And now I'm glad that like our generation, at least more of us are being like told about it, informed about it, educated about what it is.
Yeah. And
So I'm
care
glad
about it.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm glad it's gaining more attention, but I also feel like we're not at a point where everyone knows about it yet. So there's
No.
still a lot of
Yeah.
work to be done, but
There's
I'm glad
still a lot of
we're heading in the right direction. So
yes,
that's good.
yes. But there is a lot of education. Like even me, like I'm a PT and
Yeah.
only now am I learning more about my pelvic floor. Mostly because like I'm pregnant, you know? Like
Right. Yeah.
and I definitely learned about it more when I was getting that like I would have certain symptoms because my pelvic floor was tight. It's
Yeah.
that's like the main reason I learned it. I wasn't learning it for like, if I'm being honest, for preventative reasons
Right,
that
right, right.
probably would have stopped those symptoms from the get-go if I had known about that in my
Mhm.
teens and 20s.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same for me. Like, I didn't learn about pelvic floor stuff at all in OT school. Like, I mean, it's already not really taught in PT school, but like in
Yeah.
OTs, like, we definitely didn't get anything. And I didn't even
Which is
know.
funny with toileting.
Yeah. It's like toileting and sex are literally ADLs. Like, how are we not
Yeah.
pelvic floor?
That's
You know,
so
like,
interesting.
it's so wild. Yeah. So, like, all my pelvic floor education came afterwards, like through CEUs and continuing ed that I took when I was pregnant and then after I had my daughter in 2023. So,
Yeah.
I know it's crazy. Like I feel like school gives you like a good foundation, but it doesn't teach you
Yeah.
everything that you need
Yeah.
to know. Yeah.
All my peds came after too, like all my peds
Right.
knowledge. And honestly, a lot of it came from just like experience of working with kids too. So I'm
Yeah.
sure it's similar when you're working with clients in pelvic
Yes.
floor too.
Yeah. Yeah. That's where I've learned. Obviously, like I've been able to apply all of my like book knowledge,
Yeah, yeah,
like people knowledge, I guess.
yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for doing this, like, and being a guest on this podcast. I'm really, really thankful and appreciative of your time.
Oh my gosh, thank you for having me. I loved it so
Course.
much.
I know this is so good. So many good pieces of information here that I am sure a lot of listeners will find helpful.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
yeah. Thanks again.